one is the lingering eye contact that goes on just a little too long to be casual. When someone is attracted to you, their eyes don't just meet yours and dart away like they would with a stranger or coworker. They hold that gaze for an extra beat, sometimes even a few extra seconds, because their brain is drinking in every detail of your face. Psychologists call this eye contact dilation, and it's one of the most reliable subconscious attraction signals out there because people can't fake pupil dilation or force themselves to hold a stare when they're not genuinely drawn to you. If you notice someone's eyes keep coming back to yours across a room, or they hold your gaze in conversation just slightly longer than feels normal, that's not an accident. That's their nervous system telling on them. Use them in your own life by paying attention to who keeps getting caught looking at you, because that lingering stare is one of the most honest signals a person can give before they even open their mouths. If this is hitting home for you, smash that like button and hit the bell so you never miss video like this again. Sign number 2 is the body angle. When their feet, hips, and shoulders are pointing when they're near you. Body language experts have studied this for decades, and the pattern is consistent. People unconsciously point their bodies toward whoever they find most interesting or attractive in a room, even if their face is turned somewhere else entirely. So if you're in a group conversation and someone's face is engaged with everyone but their feet and torso are quietly angled toward you the whole time, that's their body overriding their attempt to seem neutral. This is a signal people almost never fake because it requires conscious effort to control, and most people aren't thinking about their feet in a social setting. Next time you're at a party, a work event, or even just hanging out with friends, glance down at where people's feet are pointing. It tells you more about who's interested than anything they say out loud. Sign number 3 is mirroring. When someone starts unconsciously copying your gestures, your posture, or even your speech patterns and tone of voice, this happens because attraction triggers a deep desire for connection, and our brains create that sense of closeness by literally syncing up with the other person's movements without us even realizing it's happening. If you take a sip of your drink and they take a sip right after, if you lean forward and they lean forward too, or if you start talking a little faster and they match your energy, that's mirroring in action. And it's one of the strongest non-verbal cues that someone feels a real connection with you. The key here is timing. One match could be coincidence, but repeated mirroring across a conversation is your brain's proof that a rapport and attraction are building in real time. It's noticing this in your own relationships, because the more someone mirrors you, the more emotionally invested they likely are in staying close to you. Sign number 4 is what therapists call pruning behavior, which is when somebody starts suddenly adjusting their appearance the moment you show up, or during a conversation with you specifically. This includes touching their hair, straightening their shirt, licking their lips, or adjusting their posture to look taller or more put together. All small, often unconscious actions that happen because their brain wants them to appear as attractive as possible to you in that moment. This is different from someone just being generally put together because preening is reactive. It happens specifically when you enter the room or when the conversation shifts towards something more personal or flirtatious. If you notice someone suddenly fixing their hair or adjusting their clothes right as you walk up to them, that's not vanity, that's their nervous system prepping for you specifically. Recognizing this in your daily life can help you read real-time interest instead of guessing based on words alone, which are far easier to fake than involuntary physical habits. Has someone ever done one of these signs to you and you don't realize what it meant until now? Tell me the story in the comments. Sign number 5 is increased proximity, the tendency for someone to close the physical gap between you two more than they would with anyone else in the room. Humans have what's called a personal space bubble, and we only let people inside that space voluntarily when we feel safe, comfortable, or drawn to them on a deeper level. So if someone consistently finds excuses to stand or sit closer to you than social norms typically require, leaning in their conversation, sitting next to you instead of across from you, or finding reasons to be near you throughout an event, that's a clear indicator their comfort and interest level with you is higher than average. This matters because proximity is one of the few attraction signals that's almost impossible to disguise as purely platonic once it becomes a consistent pattern rather than a one-time thing. Pay attention to how someone's physical distance from you changes over the course of an evening, because that shrinking gap often says more than their words do. Sign number 6 is vocal tone shifting, where someone's voice becomes noticeably softer, slower, or slightly lower in pitch, specifically when they're talking to you compared to how they speak with others. This is rooted in evolutionary psychology. A softer, warmer tone signals safety and intimacy, and people unconsciously adjust their vocal delivery to create that closeness with someone they're attracted to, even though they're rarely ever there doing it. If you notice someone's voice literally changes register when they turn to talk to you versus when they're chatting with the group, that shift is a direct window into how their brain is categorizing you compared to everyone else present. This is incredibly useful in daily life because voice is much harder to consciously control than facial expressions, which means it tends to lack real feelings even when someone is trying to play it cool. Start listening for tone changes in the people around you, not just what they say, because the how often reveals more truth than the what. Got a specific situation you're trying to figure out? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one and I'd love to help you decode what's really going on. Sign number 7 is what's called anchor touching, brief, seemingly casual physical contact like a hand on the arm, a light touch on the shoulder, or a bump that lingers half a second longer than necessary. These touches are typically small and easy to dismiss individually, but psychologists point out that people rarely touch others they aren't at least somewhat attracted to or comfortable being intimate with, because touch carries real emotional risk and vulnerability. The key detail to watch for is the lingering. A touch that ends immediately is neutral, but one where the hand stays even a amount longer than the interaction requires is your body language tell that something more is going on beneath the surface. This kind of touch often increases in frequency the more comfortable someone becomes around you. So tracking whether it's a one-time thing or a growing pattern will tell you a lot about where their feelings are heading. Being aware of this in your own relationships lets you respond to real signals instead of over-analyzing conversations that might not carry the same weight as physical cues. Sign number 8 is emotional availability during vulnerable conversations. When someone opens up to you about things that they don't casually share with others, like their fears, insecurities, or personal history, attraction isn't only physical, it's deeply tied to emotional safety, and people instinctively reserve their most vulnerable stories for those they trust and feel a real possible, because oversharing with just anyone would feel exposing and unsafe. If someone consistently chooses you as the person they can find in, or they bring up deeper topics with you that never came up with mutual friends, that emotional selectivity is one of the clearest signs of genuine attraction and connection, often even stronger than physical cues alone. This is something you can actively build in your own relationships too, creating a space where people feel safe. Being vulnerable with you naturally deepens both attraction and trust over time. Watching for who chooses to be emotionally open with you and reciprocating that vulnerability yourself is one of the most practical tools you can use to build stronger, more genuine connections in daily life. Which sign hit you the hardest? Number 3, 6, or 8? Drop the number below.